All right, so you're super welcome to this learning, right? We're definitely going to pick up back from where we stopped earlier on when we were talking about data types in Python, right? So we earlierly discussed that there is string, float, bool, int, and many more, right? Now these are we just identifying what they are, right? What strings are, what numbers are. Today, what we'll be looking at is we jump diving into into the method, right, for some of these data types. And the one we'll be starting with is going to be string, right? So let me create a file, and I'm just going to call it py, right? So inside this file we'll be writing our code. So just for the moment I can say Peter, right? And we have this. So we need to run the code. So I'm just going to do control backtick. So that brings our terminal up. And in this our terminal, we're just going to call our nodemon so that we can be able to execute our code the moment we save. So I would say Python, right, and hit enter. So I should see this, right? So that tells me that the code we wrote here is executed and we can see it here. So anytime we save, we should be able to see our code. That's good. I don't need here anymore, so what I'm just going to do is just do Control B so that that goes off, and we have here. So that's good. So now we can start writing our code here. But before I start, it's important that I sort of like break what we'll be doing into a simpler step so that we can be able to remember and utilize this code whenever is being needed, right? So let me just call the triple quotes, right? So this triple quotes which is basically a doc string, right? Because I want to put in some stuffs which would be doing here. So the very first one is so we can easily work on case sensitivity, right? Which I could just okay, case and formatting, right? So and formatting, right? So what this helps us to do, so all the code, basically the string method we can use for this, right, when we want to format a code, that's what we'll be achieving here. So if I say let's say a string is equals to, so this might be a reserved word, so I could say okay, so let's say word, right, is equals to, let's say, hello future lab, right? So if you look at this code here, you can see that there's a mix of case sensitivity. So for example, we have uppercase here, we have lowercase here, we have uppercase here, lowercase, and it's uppercase here, right? And in most cases, while working, you might want to convert all uppercase to lowercase, right? So in that regards, what you're going to do is very simple. So let me just do print word. So if we do print word, we're going to see this hello future lab, right? So that's good. So what we can now do to call or put up a case here is for us to do our dot to our dot lower, right? So once we do our dot lower and we save, let me just call this, right, and we save, we can see here that all the upper cases, right, this is an uppercase, this is an uppercase, this is an uppercase, so all the upper cases have been converted to lowercase. So that's super cool, right? And vice versa, if I should duplicate this and I come here and I just say upper, right, so we're going to see that here is all lowercase, while here is all uppercase, right? And some of you will be like, okay, so what are the use cases, right? So let me just speak to that for the lowercase, right? So often at times when you're creating an account, you're creating, let's say, a Gmail account, right? So you might be required to put in your preferred email, right? So there are cases where you might want to say, okay, so let me say my let's say email email account, right, is equals to, so let's say that is you did something like, um let's say Peter OT at, right, so you could want to do that and say at futurelab.com, right? So the moment you call these, right, so that now becomes if you look here, you see uppercase, but often at times when they are storing, or when this is going to your database, it's not going to go as this, right? So it would be converted, right? So that's what I just did there. It would be converted. And if I should save this, right, and we run our code, you can see that regardless of the fact that I call in uppercase here, right, if you'd look at the output here, it's all lowercase, right? So this is what would refer to as um, this is what would refer to as case sensitivity or case formatting, right? So case sensitivity is all of these the way it is. In fact, let me just remove this case sensitivity. So this is what we've successfully done here, is formatting the code, right? Now another example I would want to show, so let's say we say name is equals to, we have Peter. In fact, often a time, right, often a time you might want to say Peter, so let me come back, yeah, so we might want to say let me take that out, so Peter OT, right? So if we have something like this, right, it doesn't make sense, right? Why? Because in most cases, let me just comment on this. In most cases, when you're representing someone's name, right, it has to be an uppercase, right? So the first letter has to be an uppercase, right? So what we can now do for this is, rather than using, so if we use uppercase, what then happens, our output becomes something like this, right? All uppercase, right? That's what the output becomes. Let me save it so that you can see what I mean. Yeah, so you can see it here. The output becomes all uppercase, but that's not what we want. What we want is, we just want the first letter here to be capitalized, right? We just want the first letter to be capitalized. Now note, okay, let's do this first. So the first thing I'll go to, I could say, okay, we want this capitalized method. Now if we do this capitalized method, what it's going to do is, it's just going to effect that on just the first letter. So if I save this, we would see that, you can see it here, so it just applies it to the first letter. But if I should duplicate this now, so let me just remove, or rather let's just, so if I should come here now and I say title, right, so what this is going to do, is it's going to apply it both here and here. So if you look here, you can see the difference, right? You can see that here is capitalized, is just for the first letter in the string, but for title, after a space, so it observes a space, the next sentence is going to, or the next word, right, is going to be capitalized. So for example, if I come here now and I say future lab, right, if we save this, you can see that the next again becomes capital letter. So it just observe the space, any space right in between, the next becomes capitalized, right? So that is for title, right? Now the last one which I would want to discuss about is swap case. Now what swap case does, it's very funny, right? So let me come down here and I say let me just remove this, and I say let's just give it x, and we say x is equals to, so here we're going to say yeah, so we're going to say future lab, right? So if I come here and I say print, right, and I say x dot swap case, right, what's going to happen is it's going to change this for lowercase and all the lowercase to uppercase, right? So if we save, we would see, yeah, so you can see now that all the uppercase becomes lowercase and all the lowercase becomes uppercase, right? I really do not see a use case for this, but then the point is that's what it does, right? So anytime we call the swap case, right, so swap case is going to give you that effect. Basically, these are the 5 there could be more, but these are the 5 fundamentals, right, I would really want us to look at when it comes to case and formatting. So let me put them here again. So remember, we say lower, right? So we would have lower, and we have upper, right? We have capitalize, right? We have title, and lastly we have swap case, right? So basically when we're looking at formatting, right, so these are the 5 you would want to lay your hands on. You can try as many as possible. I've shown you guys use case. So when you're representing name, right, you would want to use title, right? So let's say you're drawing a graph or something, right, a table, right, that takes in name, right, so you'd want to use title for that, right? And for capitalize, when you're writing a paragraph, right, you're writing a word, sentence, or etc., right, when you want to start a new paragraph, right, you would want to use capitalize, right? So those are the use cases that you would want to, and there are several things. Once we look at more methods, we're going to see how we can put all these things together, right, to give you a very clean code. Okay, so the next I would want us to look at is let me just call a triple point, right? The next I would want us to look at is basically trimming, right? So what do we mean? Yeah, so I could say trimming white spaces, right? So what do we mean by that, right? So when we say, oh, we want to trim, basically trimming is we removing any form of white space, right? So white space are basically empty space. So let me call these again. So we have hello future lab, right? So this is a white space, this is another white space. Now note that this is not a white space, this is a character, right? So it's not a white space. So what are the methods we can use, string method we can use, right? So the very first one we would want to use is this strip, right? So basically what strip does, it removes this white space here, and it removes this white space here. So the back and the front white space, it removes it, right? I mean, that's what it is, right? As easy as that. So you can see it here, it has removed the back and the front. So this is the back, I'm sorry, this is the front, and this is the back. So it has removed those white space. And of course we can say, oh, we want to remove the first right or the left, right, because this is the first or front, but in Python we refer it as the left, right? And this is the back, right? And this back we can say it's the right. So what we would do for that is, so let me just bring this down here, so we can use L. So L, which is the left, right? So the left strip, right? So if I should save now, this part is gone here, right? So let me just comment on this, so, and we run this, right? So this path here is gone, but we can still see, there's still, even if we can't see, but then there is still a space here, right? There's still a space there. So what we can do for that is, I'm sorry, if we want to remove this one, what we'll do is to say arrow. So let me just comment here, and come here would say arrow, which is the right. So we're removing this part, right? So if I should save now, right? Yeah, so you can see that we're having this one, but here has been removed, right? But here has been removed, right? So that's basically it, right? So that has been resolved. So when we look at trim, so we would look at strip, right? Yeah, sorry, I missed my T. So we'll look at strip, then we'll look at last strip, and we'll look at the right strip as well, right? So very important, right, that these are what would want to consider when it comes to trimming, right? Please note this, trimming. So what I'm going to do now is, let me just first of all comment on this so that we don't have to be saying, when we're running a code, we don't have to be saying this all over again, right? Okay, so the next is for us to do, let's say, finding, searching, right? So would want to search. It's very important that I kind of like list this out like this so that it would be super easy for us to identify and know what we're working with, right? So like I said, so that would be searching. So let's say searching, and no, not replacing, but checking. So we want to check if a character exists inside a word or a sentence, right? Or we want to search for those characters, right? So that's where we would want to use this. So I would still want to use this text which we have here, right? So let me just copy this text and have it here, then come here and comment